Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Only one Adrian here, and here is part 2, 7 tips for pushing through when there's infidelity in the marriage. Please establish who you are outside of wife, outside of mom. Okay, number 3 that I have found to be very, very helpful in transforming my marriage and alternatives to divorce when you want to give up. Never blame it all on one person. That was probably one of the hardest for me. Don't blame it all on you. Don't blame it all on him. It takes two of you. You both decided to make a covenant together. It's never all one person's fault. So, yes, that person, whoever cheated, they decided to step outside. That was their choice on their own. They could have made a different choice. But if you decide to forgive and move forward, you can't always point that finger and bring those things up. And it's not your fault. Oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, I'm not a good wife. Oh, I'm not thin enough. I'm not thick enough. My butt's not big enough. I'm not whatever it is enough that you tell yourself, because women sometimes do that. A bit of emotions, you're in a whirlwind of somebody wants to put the blame. And then if you're the person who cheated, you need to take responsibility for your actions. It is not because your husband ain't ambitious enough. It's not because, oh, your wife don't dress sexy enough. You have deeply rooted issues that you need to address. It has nothing to do with your spouse. Those personal issues and traumas you brought into the marriage, you just didn't pay attention to them. So it takes two to experience a breakdown, just like it takes two to be uplifted and to work through it. So never blame one person. Both partners need to take equal responsibility and look at it. Even if it seems like it came out of nowhere. Oh, we were so happy and then my husband cheated. Oh, I did everything for my wife and gave her everything she needed and then she still cheated. You have to go back and trace back wherever you went wrong, because there's a breakdown and two people were involved and responsible in the breakdown. Not the choice to cheat, but in the breakdown. Okay, number 4, please be willing. Please be willing and open-minded enough to reimagine your marriage. It kind of goes back to what I was saying before. It's easy to say what you will and will not do until the situation happens to you. I was very much adamant that I would never stick through my husband cheating on me, but it happened. So I had to reconsider divorce as an option. I had to take it off the table, basically, because what would that get me? At the time, years ago when it first happened, I even had a friend to say, what will you get out of the divorce? And I really had to ask myself that. I really had to ask myself, well, what will I get out of this? Is it going to change the fact that I love him? No. Is it going to change the fact that he loves me? No. Is it going to change the fact that we have built so much together? No. Is it going to change the fact that we have children together? No. Is it going to change the fact that we both have identified that we're soulmates? No. None of that is going to change by divorce. So reimagine some other possibilities other than ending your marriage. Because if you automatically go to, I'm about to get a divorce, which I did before, even went and met with a divorce lawyer, but something happened every time. I have to tell that story later. Something happened every single time I was ready to give up on my marriage. So reimagine your marriage and be open to the possibility that you can fix this. Two people have to be willing, but you can fix it. You can work. And in a lot of ways, my marriage is better than it was before. Okay, the other thing, number 5, please be willing to go to counseling. You have to counsel with someone who's been there, someone who is an expert in the field, someone who, walked that same path and were able to come out of it better and flourish and to give you a perspective. The way the counseling works, though, is you have to be willing to be honest and transparent. I've heard a couple of people say that they've gone to counseling, they've done that, and it wasn't effective. Counseling is not an easy fix. Let's be clear. You have to put in the work to get something out of it. You have to be transparent about everything that your therapist is asking you. When they ask about your childhood trauma, tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. I was raised in an abusive home and my daddy beat me. Or, my mama wasn't there for me and now I got abandonment issues. Whatever your truth is from childhood on, because it matters, you need to speak that. And you need to be able to be held accountable. And counseling helps to bring those issues to the forefront, because none of the other things are going to work until you're willing to be transparent and honest. So seek counsel. You have to be willing to seek counsel. You have to be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations, because in those uncomfortable conversations produces growth, produces new information. And with new information, the majority of us should do better. When you know better, you do better. And counseling, giving the proper therapeutic relationship, counseling does just that. Helps you to see your perspectives, helps to give you options, and helps you to push yourself to be better. Christian counseling, strictly mental health, marriage counseling, whatever you're comfortable with. We've done both, and are currently still seeking counsel for our marriage, because it's an ongoing thing. It's ongoing. You can't go for 2 months and be like, bam, we fixed. It's an investment. So yes, it may cost you, typically the going rate for marriage counseling is typically about $100 an hour. So yes, counseling and facing uncomfortable conversations and situations is what is going to help to push you through it. Number 6, your circle of influences, your friends, your family members. You have to seek people who are honest, who are going to help you maintain accountability, and who are going to tell you when you're wrong. So if you have people who are enabling your cheating behavior, your lies, that's not going to help you move forward and put your best face forward in your marriage. Your circle really, really matters. The people that you spend time and energy on really influence us in ways that sometimes we're uncomfortable with admitting. You have to make sure that you have a positive circle. If you have single friends, you have to understand that you can't do everything that they do as a married person. If you have a married friend who is cheating constantly, not trying to change, basically excusing it, or all men cheat or women cheat too, if they have that mentality, that's not somebody that you should be associating yourself with and going to for advice, because their view is negative and they're not willing to face their own issues and shortcomings. So I would recommend clinging to that friend that you know is faithful, clinging to those parents that you have, that if you were the product of a functional 2-parent household, talking to, older people who have been married for years, going to find a marriage ministry in which couples are striving with the same goal that you have. Reading a book, your influences is not just who you're face to face with, but seeking out that information. When I didn't know what to do, I started Googling stuff. I started being a part of groups, Facebook groups, women fighting for their marriages, husbands fighting for their marriages, podcasts. There's tons of podcasts and resources out there these days to help us. Books. I love reading. I love reading. If you don't like reading, get an audio book or just listen to a podcast. But finding those positive influences to help you, it really, really matters. Guarding your influences, not being around naysayers, and really being around people in the energy space that believes in marriages and believes that marriages can be better. Let's review really quick, because I don't want this to be a 30-minute video. Things that you can do to push through when the going has gotten tough in your marriage. 1, pray. 2, find who you are. Don't lose yourself. Find a hobby. Exercising, reading, helping somebody, finding a creative gift, taking a trip by yourself. Know who you are and don't lose sight of that. 3, Take the responsibility in your part. It takes two. Never put the blame on one person, yourself or that person. It takes both of you to make it work. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Be willing to reimagine your marriage and consider alternatives to divorce. Divorce is not the only way. In fact, I've talked to a couple of women who, in the instance of one offense, they recognize they divorced their husband too quickly. Things in that your husband has the potential to be better. Do your part in helping him to be better and reimagine your marriage. Both people. It's still a duo. We're a relationship. We're in a covenant. It takes two of us to reimagine our marriage and consider and just say no. Just say no to divorce. How can I get through this without divorce? Reimagine that. 5, counseling. Seek counsel from someone. Marriage counseling. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay in your marriage, to not have a perfect marriage. None of us do. 6. Well, 5 and 6 kind of went together. Face uncomfortable situations and conversations. You have to be willing to be honest about your issues. You have to be willing to accept the ugly truth about your spouse, about yourself, in order to push past and to get out that comfort zone and stop pretending. Sweep it all from up under the rug, baby, because it's still going to be there. If you don't deal with it, that pile of trash get bigger, that monster gets bigger if you feed it and ignore it. So face those uncomfortable truths about his issues and your own issues. And lastly, number 7, your influences, your friends. What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you reading? Take in positivity, and that's what will happen in your marriage. I'm going to link the books below that I have read and also some podcasts that I listened to. If you have questions for me, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video and would like to see more content like this, also let me know that too, because I just kind of went out today after an influx of messages and DMs with women who really wanted to find out what I did and how I got to a good place where I could share with my marriage. And so I would like to keep doing things like this. Just leave me a comment on what y'all would like to see. Questions, you can email me, inbox me. It's confidential. I'm not going to put you out there. We're all in this together. Peace, love. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Goodbye.